Imagine this just for a second. A huge, magnificent city, really ancient, maybe even, Atlantis itself, but hidden under all that ice in Antarctica. What if, like, everything we think we know about our own history, about human civilization, is just wrong or incomplete? That's the pretty wild idea we're going to dive into today. We're exploring a theory that connects massive geological events, really advanced ancient peoples, and even some modern-day secret operations, all to figure out what's really under the Antarctic ice. We're looking at claims from this one audio source. It's called The Evidence That the Ancient Lost City Beneath the Antarctic Ice Still Exists, .mp3. And it pulls from, well, old texts and new satellite data. So our mission here is to unpack it all, see how the source connects these dots, and, well, see where it takes us. Okay, so let's unpack this. The whole thing seems to kick off with a pretty radical geological idea. Our source points to Charles Hapgood's book from 1958, Earth's Shifting Crust. Apparently, it even had a foreword by Albert Einstein, which is interesting.
Well, it definitely adds a certain weight, doesn't it? Or at least curiosity.
Right. And Hapgood's main point, according to the source, is that around 12,000 years ago, the Earth's crust, it just shifted dramatically.
That's the core claim, yeah. A crustal displacement.
And the impact on Antarctica was huge then. It suggests the continent was moved.
Exactly. Displaced from somewhere much further north. A place where it was, believe it or not, temperate.
Wow. Okay, hold on. A temperate Antarctica. That's quite a picture to get your head around.
It really is. And what's fascinating, I think, is how this geological hypothesis, whether you buy it or not, kind of sets the stage. It opens the door for a completely different story about Earth's past than the one we usually learn.
It provides the how, doesn't it? The mechanism for this lost world idea.
Precisely. A mechanism for a massive continental transformation.
And, okay, with that massive shift as the backdrop, the story takes a turn towards, well, the really fantastic. The audio claims this once temperate land wasn't empty. It was home to an advanced civilization.
And it gets specific about who they were.
Right. It describes them as primate giants with elongated skulls and calls them the Atlanteans.
Now, that term, primate giants, that's not standard terminology you'd find in anthropology textbooks.
No, definitely not. It seems unique to this source's narrative. It's how they categorize these beings.
Exactly. And the claims about them are pretty specific, too. This civilization, these giants, they didn't just, evolve there peacefully over millennia.
Yeah. What then?
The source says they crash-landed on that continent, the one that became Antarctica, roughly 55,000 years ago.
Crash landed 55,000 years ago, okay? And then the catastrophe happened, the shift.
That's the idea. The sudden crustal shift moved the continent, plunged it into its current freezing cold location, and that doomed them.
So these Atlanteans, the prize giants, and their amazing city, just buried under miles of ice.
Frozen in time, essentially. An entire civilization just wiped out and preserved, supposedly, deep beneath the ice sheet.
Okay, wow. This is where it gets really interesting, isn't it? Because the theory then tries to link this buried Antarctic civilization to, actual ancient history we know, or think we know.
Right. It brings in Plato.
Plato's Atlantis. The audio goes back to his descriptions and argues they fit this Antarctic location. It mentions some very specific details.
It does, like Plato describing the soil as high above the sea.
And there was a plain around the city, smooth and steady.
Yes, exactly. And the island itself was supposedly situated on the south and protected against the north wind.
Which I guess could fit a location that was once further north but is now at the South Pole, if you imagine the orientation shifting.
That seems to be the implication the source is drawing. And then there are the mountains.
Oh yeah, the mountains. Plato apparently said they surpassed in number, size, and beauty all those we see today.
Quite a claim. And the source mentions dimensions, too, from Plato.
Dimensions, like how big it was.
Yeah, a reading of 3,000 stadia, which is about 471 kilometers. And from the center to the sea, over 2,000 stadia, over 315 kilometers. Big place.
Huge. Okay, so the source lines up these details.
Yeah.
But then it makes this really extraordinary claim about where Plato even got this information.
Yeah, this is maybe the most surprising connection it makes. It says, it was the Egyptians who told Plato.
The Egyptians? How?
Well, according to the source, it was specifically the builders of the pyramid with a message written with stones on the Great Pyramid.
Wait, what? A message on the Great Pyramid? Like hieroglyphs?
It doesn't specify hieroglyphs, just written with stones. It's vague, but the implication is huge.
Right.
Like some kind of coded message left by the pyramid builders, passed down through Egyptian priests, eventually reaching Plato.
That implies this incredible, ancient information network, bridging civilizations across thousands of years and miles.
It really does. An astonishing transfer of knowledge, if true.
But that's a massive leap, isn't it? I mean, if the builders of the pyramids left this detailed message about Atlantis, why isn't this, widely known? Why haven't mainstream Egyptologists found it or talked about it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The source doesn't really elaborate on why it's not common knowledge. It sort of presents it as this hidden, maybe esoteric wisdom encoded in the structure itself.
Hmm. Okay. So ancient texts, pyramid messages. But how does modern stuff play into this? The source mentions NASA, right?
It does. This is where the theory tries to bring in, let's say, more tangible evidence. It points to NASA's work observing the polar ice caps since 2003.
With satellites.
Yes, specifically mentioning Operation Icebridge. Through that, NASA gathered what the source calls BedMap 2 data.
Bed map. So a map of the rock underneath the ice.
Exactly, using tech like laser and ice-penetrating radar.
Okay, for those of us not up on our remote sensing tech,
Yeah.
laser and ice penetrating radar, what does that actually let them do? How does it see through the ice?
Good question. So think of it like this. LiDAR uses laser pulses, and ice-penetrating radar uses radio waves. Both can travel through the ice sheet, bounce off the solid ground, the bedrock beneath, and return to the sensor.
Ah, okay. Like an echo, but with light or radio waves.
Precisely. And by measuring the time it takes for those signals to return and their intensity, scientists can build up a really detailed picture of the landscape hidden below. Mountains, valleys, maybe even old river channels. It gives us the bedrock topography.
So NASA definitely mapped the land under the ice. That's established science.
Absolutely. Operation Icebridge provided incredible data on the subglacial terrain. The real question the source poses is, what does that map terrain show? Is it just geology or is there something more?
Right. How is this mapping data interpreted to support the Atlantis theory? This is where the geographical alignment claims come in.
Yes. The source makes some very specific geographical assertions. It claims that if you take the Greenwich meridian,
The 0-degree longitude line through London.
that's the one. If you apply a mirror effect to it, and we need to be clear, mirror effect isn't standard geographical jargon. The source doesn't fully define it, but implies maybe reflecting it to the opposite side of the Earth.
Okay. So if you do this mirroring,
It supposedly indicates the location of the capital of Atlantis.
just like that, pinpoints it.
That's the claim. And that this pinpointed location is somehow confirmed by that alleged message written with stones on the Great Pyramid.
Connecting back to the Egyptians.
Exactly. And crucially, that this location also matches Plato's description of the capital city, which the source calls Posidopolis.
What was Plato's description again?
An area of islands close to the sea level, with a circular wall beginning at the sea and everywhere distant 50 stages of larger enclosure and its ports. Very specific layout.
Islands, circular walls, under the Antarctic ice. And if that wasn't, well, enough. There's another twist, right?
Yeah.
Something about Nazis.
Uh-huh. The audio then throws in a reference to a secret entrance discovered by the Nazis.
A secret entrance.
Newer.
Atlantis, Antarctica.
It's implied to be an entrance to something beneath the ice. The source doesn't give much detail on how or when the Nazis supposedly found it.
But it connects to the location.
It claims the longitude of this supposed secret entrance runs parallel to that mirrored Greenwich meridian line we talked about.
Okay, so it's trying to layer these connections. Meridian, Plato, pyramids, Nazis.
And then it mentions a map, a detailed route of how to get to the land or underground base beneath the ice.
A map. Where did this map come from?
Again, the source doesn't specify the origin of this map, just that it exists and shows a route 1,530 kilometers long. And this route allegedly points to a place which is exactly on the coordinates of the capital of Atlantis.
Wow, that's incredibly specific. It does make you wonder, are these just coincidences, errors in interpretation? Or is the source suggesting something deliberate, some hidden pattern?
That's the core question it raises, yes. Coincidence or connection?
This whole thing sounds like, I don't know, an Indiana Jones plot. So after weaving together Hapgood's shift, these Atlantean giants, Plato, NASA maps, pyramid messages, Nazi entrances, what's the big takeaway? The stunning conclusion the source reaches.
Well, it synthesizes it like this. If the researchers are correct with their analysis of the location of the capital of Atlantis, and we connecting the dots, we come to a stunning conclusion that all the stories about the ancient ruins have been found in Antarctica indeed could be true.
So basically, look at all these pieces, they seem to fit, therefore the legend might be real and located in Antarctica.
That's the gist of it. It's arguing that these disparate threads, viewed through this specific lens, make a compelling case for a real lost city under the ice.
This really does go way beyond just finding the old ruins, doesn't it? It implies, like, a totally different human history, our origins, maybe even our place in the cosmos if they crash landed.
Absolutely. It reframes potentially everything.
And the claims don't actually stop there. The source brings in this whole other angle about disclosure.
Right. For listeners familiar with these kinds of theories, the name David Wilcock often comes up. The source references his ideas.
And Wilcock talks about this alliance, working against a cabal or Illuminati.
Correct. That's the framework presented. These shadowy global control groups, the Cabal, Illuminat's New World Order, and this alliance supposedly fighting against them.
Okay, and how does Atlantis fit into that?
Well, according to the source, citing Wilcock, this alliance's plan involves initiating a disclosure process.
Meaning revealing secrets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Specifically revealing information about these ancient ruins in Antarctica and about the advanced civilization who maybe still lives beneath the ice sheet.
Wait, still lives there. That's a whole other layer.
It is indeed. The
Mhm.
source touches on that possibility. And it concludes by saying, if this disclosure actually happens,
Then what?
then we are on the verge of major new releases of information that will transform everything we thought we knew about life on Earth.
A total paradigm shift.
That's the implication. Now, regardless of where you or I or anyone listening stands on these specific claims, whether you find them credible or far-fetched,
Yeah.
it definitely makes you think, doesn't it, about how information works, especially information about our deep past, our origins, how narratives are built, maybe controlled, maybe revealed, and what that means for how we understand ourselves and our future.
Absolutely. It's a lot to process. So thinking about all these interwoven stories, ancient peoples, geology gone wild, modern conspiracies, potential revelations, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other huge assumptions we hold about our planet's history, or even our own story, might just be waiting for their own deep dive, maybe hidden under ice or just buried in records we've forgotten to look at.